Cullen Aven. I keep replaying how my oath finally buckled. Years in the coming, with no turning back. Summer air, damp grass, the woodshed at my back, and my family's amulet pulsing red in my hand. A nearly 200-year-old promise broken. It's that pulse that drives me past the porch, across the field, and into the family mausoleum, where every hinge and hidden alarm is mine to silence. Inside, doubt fights duty until the pry bar bites stone and the sarcophagus yields. Not a coffin, but a hatch and 13 steps plunging beneath our land. Lantern raised, heart hammering, I descend, only to find Da waiting in the dark, calm as a judge. Whatever lies below those stairs is the answer our line has guarded for 189 years. And tonight, for better or worse, I mean to claim it. Whatever lies below those stairs is the answer our line has guarded for 189 years. And tonight, for better or worse, I mean to claim it.
The goddess Arael. They once hailed me as divine, daughter of Corban, heir to Sias, next goddess of war. Yet I would never measure. My strength, a pale candle flame to my mother's blaze. All their praise tasted hollow beside the ache for reckless, imperfect love. So I sundered my celestial flesh, surrendered my place among the stars, and slipped into the Costa Novacula to become the whisper along its edge, the shimmer that steadies or shakes the hand that lifts it. I fell burning into the garden to guide a mortal king, knowing the world might call it madness. But if this is madness, then let the blade sing.
Welcome back to the Dark Razor Chronicles streamcast. I'm your host and author, Mike Carmel. In this episode, oaths are tested, bloodlines unravel, and a goddess continues her fall, not from grace, but into consequence. Cullen Aven descends beneath his family's land in search of truth, only to find judgment waiting in the dark. And far older still, Arael, daughter of war, reveals the price of mortal legacy. So settle in, because time fractures, and the blade remembers.
Cullen Aven. Da waits for me, sitting in the dark, reclined at a desk. Da? He does not answer. Da? I ask again. But the world is silent. Even the sound of my own voice does not reach my ears. I hold the light up to the figure. It is not Da, but he could be an uncle. Is he asleep? Closer now. I see his eyes are closed. He looks peaceful, but no one could sleep through such disruptions, could they? The door jarring open, the capstone striking the floor above. Yet, in this strange silence perhaps, the air resists, thick like water. Even my breathing. Am I breathing? I must be, though I cannot tell. I have already been in this room long enough that I should feel the urgent need for a breath. With haste, I turn back to the doorway and push toward it. But it's like a dream, wading through a watery world. More urgently, I seek the hallway and burst through the ajar door into sound and freedom, yet I do not gasp. The urgency to breathe is only accelerated by my excitement. I dare a glance back into the dark room and hold the lantern up, but I see nothing within. I hesitate on the threshold this time, unsure how to balance risk and wonder. If answers are to be found, I must proceed. Stepping in, sound dwindles to silence. The air thickens around me again. Without the distraction of opening the door, I notice even the lantern's light is affected. It spreads, yes, but slowly. Slow enough that I can track its progress as it creeps into the corners. I swing the lantern to test it. The shadows barely shift. Or they do, but at the same sluggish pace. It's unnerving. I pause, try to sense my breath, but I can't. The need to inhale just isn't there. No tightness, no panic, just absence. I set my stance, angled back toward the hallway. If something happens, I'll fall that way, back toward safety. I count to 120. Nothing changes. No dizziness, no pain. I step backward. As soon as I cross the threshold, sensation returns in a rush. Air floods my lungs. I shiver. I turn back toward the room, lantern raised. This time, I step forward with purpose. I'm not afraid. Not anymore. Something's here. Answers. The light rolls forward again, sluggish and slow, like thick water pouring into corners. The room is larger than I expected. Not a grand hall, but at least 6 meters square. All underground, hewn from solid rock. An impressive feat, I know, because I spent a summer digging out a cellar. I remember the ache of it, the heat, the hammer against stone, day after day. It looks like a laboratory. Tables line the walls. A wardrobe stands in the corner. There's a desk straight ahead, and in front of it, a man slumped in a chair. Another table sits at the center of the room. There's a body on it, covered. But my attention stays on the man at the desk. He hasn't moved. I inch forward, silent, though everything's silent here. The room devours all sound. He's motionless, not breathing. Seizure? Choking. I nudge his shoulder. No response. I try to speak, just a soft, "Sir," but nothing comes out. Rescue training kicks in. I check his wrist. No pulse. His neck. Nothing. I check my own pulse. Still nothing. So it's the room, not just him. If I carry him out, would he come back? I glance back at the door. It's still jammed open. Wide enough for me, but not for someone his size. I can't get him through. Not yet. He'll have to wait. The left wall is bare. The desk that faces the back wall is cluttered with the tools of correspondence: parchment, dip pens, inkwells, sealing wax, candles, scroll cases, ribbon. A sandbox. Nothing extravagant, just practical. To the far right, a wardrobe stands crooked in the corner. Its doors are pinned open by a mound of equipment: 2 packs, maybe 3 sacks, a pair of rolled beds, and some pieces of leather armor tossed on top. Tables stretch along the other 2 walls, end to end, packed tight. No space wasted. Vials, bottles, metal frames filled with glass tubes and flutes. Powders, liquids, things that look like reagents or dried roots. Tiny drawers, open-lidded boxes. It's a working lab. Or it was, once. The light sways in my hand, but unnaturally slow, like it's caught in syrup. Doesn't throw me off, not physically, but it's hard to ignore. Over the center table, above the covered body, another lantern hangs, older style. I reach up, carefully. No sound. Not from the metal, not from the glass, not even the fluid inside. I lift it down, swap it with mine. Steady light returns to the table. Examining the older lantern, I unscrew the cap and sniff. Pointless, maybe, but habit. I can't smell a thing. Can't breathe at all. Still, the reservoir's full. I can see that plainly. I take 2 matches from my own lamp base, crouch near the stone. Strike 1. Nothing. Strike again. Still nothing. The third. Same. No spark, no flame. I glance toward the door. Maybe it's this place. I press forward, lantern in hand. The air resists me, like pushing through wool soaked in cold oil. But I cross the threshold, and everything snaps back. Sound crashes in. My ears ring. The match flares to life, and pain stings my fingers. I hiss, startled by the sudden heat. Careful now. I light the lantern, shake out the matches, let the pain subside. Then I look back and stop breathing for a different reason. My lantern hangs from the hook where I left it, burning bright in the center of the room. Only now the light doesn't just shine, it radiates. A golden aura pulses outward in waves, like syrup running uphill, slow and deliberate, edged with flare lines and sharp corners. It looks like something out of a vision, a dream. One of those vivid, impossible dreams you almost believe in while it's happening. And I do believe it. Almost. If the cockerel crowed now, if the sun rose through my bedroom window, I wouldn't even be surprised. But it doesn't. And I don't wake. But I know it is not a dream. If for nothing else, the pain in my finger. I collect the lantern and step back into the room. Everything changes. The surreal haze vanishes. The lantern's glow steadies. Silence rushes in. The air feels thick, slow, like honey pouring over my skin. And I'm grinning. How could I not? This is fantastic. The anticipation of showing Da is almost unbearable. But Da will have to wait. For now, these discoveries are mine and mine alone. I am the first Aven to have the courage. No, it is not courage. It's weakness. And when I tell Da, it will be a row of epic ferocity. Or worse, silence. I shake the thought away and move deeper into the room, lifting the second lantern ahead of me. The grin fades as I study the space with a sharper eye. There's no other way in. How did this man get here? And why is this room so fantastic? After breaking the seal, the capstone had slid easily enough. Perhaps it was designed to open and close with intention. But surely, if someone had been using this place, wouldn't I have known? I nudge the heavy chair back with my foot, pushing it and its occupant away from the desk. It slides without sound. I keep pushing until the man's head touches the wall. Then I begin examining the desk. Parchments, dip pens, nothing modern. No paper, no fountain pens. Odd. Paper's been in use since Great-Granda's time. Stitchery engines, pneumatic pumps, all brought in under Cadian rule. I can't imagine a world without them. Yet this desk belongs to another age. I shift the parchments. One page stops me. Addressed to Lork Aven. My heart skips. Lork Aven, the one who first swore the oath. This page is nearly 200 years old. At the bottom, Porthalis Avengar, Grand Magus. From the White Circle? Magus was Arthesi Gromdair's title, the one who swore us into service. But Grand Magus? Was he the head of the order? I read on. The dialect's old but not hard to follow. It's a thank you letter commending Lork Aven for his service, as oath sworn. Oath sworn. We say oath taken now. The letter names a place, Greater Moor. I've never heard of it. Maybe it was renamed or forgotten. I keep reading. The letter also thanks 4 others who accompanied Lork. Joran Larand, Gor Silft, Norik Olosis, and Farthen Feltlin.
The goddess Arael. Centuries passed before I was found, buried beneath ruin and root. My presence dulled, my voice no more than a shimmer in the steel. And when hands finally closed around my hilt, they were not kingly hands, not noble, just a plainsman, calloused, a man with no vision of glory, no hunger for justice, only survival. He was no ideal vessel for destiny, but I tried. Oh, I tried. At first, I moved subtly, a whisper at dusk, a thought not his own, guiding his hand toward mercy, his path toward light. But mortal hearts are stubborn. They drown out the divine. And time wears even gods thin. So I cried out to my father. Corben, war-forged and merciless, answered not with comfort, but with law, with bindings. He split me. One self unbound, a ghost of will, free to guide, the other chained in steel, a shadow forged to judge. Together, we became blade and whisper, judgment and consequence. Corben laid the protocols. No man may steal the Costa Novacula. No gift may pass it hand to hand. It must be earned, tested, won. A duel, always. One to fall, one to rise, one to relinquish, one to bear. And so began the legacy. But even divine order carries a wound. Every time the blade passes, a fragment is taken, a shard of soul, a moment of pain, a truth made myth. From these slivers, legends are born, each bearer etched into the blade's memory, their strengths, their flaws, their final breath. This is the price of judgment. This is the weight of worth. And I remain, bound and divided, a goddess made echo.
Cullen Aven. Are the others oath taken as well? I set the parchment down and resumed my search. 2 more letters, also addressed to Lork Aven, both signed by Porthalis, Grand Magus. Roughly 200 years old, yet the parchment remains intact, smooth, flexible. I glance at the body slumped in the chair. Could it be him? Lork Aven? The room feels preserved, undisturbed, not frozen but removed. Time has no grip here. Or it's a fabrication. No, that doesn't feel right. Something else is at work. I check the rest of the desk for further clues. No more greetings. No fresh signatures. If the letters truly date back 2 centuries, then everything else in this room might be from the same period. But it doesn't look old. No dust. No signs of moisture or decay. The furniture shines. The air is still. The smell neutral. Clean. It shouldn't be, unless it hasn't been here long. That makes no sense, unless the room's been shielded somehow. Magically? Unlikely. But I don't have a better explanation. I look again at the man beside me. A distant uncle, perhaps? But if that were true, how would he have brought all this down here without my knowing? Unless Da knew. The thought tightens in my chest. Would Da hide something like this? I lean over the figure and examine his clothing. The cut is unfamiliar, wide at the cuffs. The fabric's coarse. The seams uneven. Hand-stitched. Crude compared to the clean uniform lines of the manufactory shirts we wear now. Even Mum's earliest pieces weren't this rough, not after she got her engine. Whoever he is, this man's wearing something made long before I was born. I check his pockets. Nothing. Not a single identifier. I turn toward the wardrobe. It's massive. Too large, frankly. I don't see how they got it through the sarcophagus opening. I'm not convinced it would fit. The doors are propped open by 2 worn backpacks. Inside, 6 drawers across the base. Above them, a packed rod of clothing, mostly women's wear, travel cut, rough weave, same handmade finish. I rubbed the cloth between my fingers, then glanced down at my own sleeve. The difference is immediate. Cadian fabric is smoother, finer, less prone to fray. What hangs here would chafe in a matter of hours. I push the garments aside and spot something affixed to the back wall of the wardrobe. At first, I don't understand what I'm looking at. It's a small, intricate device strung with tight wire, looks almost like a miniature crossbow, about the length of my hand span. The bow is inverted, mounted at what I assume is the rear. I've never studied crossbows, but I know swords. Now that the clothes have been pushed aside, I spot 2 blades leaning in opposite corners. I grasp them both by their scabbards and draw them into the light. The first is striking, housed in a white lacquered scabbard with polished brass fittings. The hilt is silver, crossguard simple but elegant, the grip wound in gold wire. The second is plainer, brown leather scabbard, leather-wrapped handle, steel crossguard, a soldier's blade. I set the duller one aside, leaning it against the open wardrobe door, and draw the white one first. The blade shines like a mirror, no fuller, single edge, a hacking weapon, not a duelist's. The length suits someone of smaller stature. Hard to gauge its weight in this air. I test the balance, give it a couple short swings. The air pushes back, heavy, clinging, makes the motion useless. I sheath the blade and rest it against the cabinet. Then I draw the second. This feels right. A short sword, fuller down the center, pointed tip, built for thrusting as much as cutting. Good weight, sturdy, practical, a proper fighter's sword, not some fancy heirloom that makes you scared to use it. Still, the silver one must be worth more than everything else in the room combined. I keep staring, but not for the craftsmanship. Something about it unsettles me. There's a knot in my stomach, not physical, no nausea, but tight, all the same. This room, it doesn't add up. Weapons, strange gear, a man I suspect is family, possibly still alive, and something else. Something I've been ignoring since I came down here. I sheath the sword and lean it beside the other. Tap one of the backpacks. Nothing obvious. I skim the wall cabinets, but my focus is shot. None of this explains anything, not really. Not enough to justify generations of secrecy. There has to be more. And I think it's behind me. I circle the central table. The lantern throws its light over the shape on the far side. Oblique, feminine, draped. I approach. Gingerly, I reach for the sheet and prod it with a finger. It doesn't shift. Hard, unyielding. Stone? I grip the sheet's edge and pull. A flash of blue light floods the table, then vanishes, retreating beneath the warmer glow of the lantern. Did I see blue light? Or was it just a trick of shadow in this sluggish, dreamlike place? I don't have time to decide. The moment the sheet falls away, I stagger back, hit the wall behind me, and everything shifts. Sound rushes in, scent follows. The cold bite of damp stone, stale air. My breath catches. It's as if pressing against the wall pulls me out of the room entirely. The atmosphere alters instantly. The lantern's glow, that strange, surreal shimmer, has returned. I take a long breath. Basement air, real. Whatever's happening in this chamber, it has borders. I push off the wall and take a step forward. The dream resumes, just like that. The air flattens. Silence swells. Smell vanishes. The lantern's glow normalizes again, steady, neutral. I move closer to the table, closer to her. What I had assumed was a sculpture is anything but. She's made of flesh, not stone, not illusion. A second sheet wraps around her body. She lies still, like the man in the chair, eyes closed in what appears to be sleep. I prod gently. She doesn't yield. Her body feels petrified. The man at least has warmth and give. This woman does not. The top layer of the sheet has slipped, just enough to expose her left shoulder. A scar, purple, pronounced. The kind that speaks of depth, violence. In any other place, it would have sent a chill down my spine. But this room dampens everything, even that. I reach toward the scar, intent on touching it. But before my hand reaches her, blue light pulses where my shadow crosses her skin. I block the lantern with one hand, shade her face fully. Yes, blue. Faint, but real. Not strong enough to compete with the lanterns in the room, but unmistakable in the shadows. I examine her face. Long yellow hair frames her cheeks. A tear clings to the corner of her eye, perfectly still. Her skin looks soft, new. Lashes dark and long, lips tinged pink in the glow. She's beautiful, young, my age maybe. I straighten, then slowly reach out, place my hand on her arm, still hidden beneath the sheet. No change, still hard, still unmoving. Maybe the sheet is a barrier. I touch her face. The tear shifts, slides. It rolls down her cheek, slow, and breaks against my finger.
Thanks for listening. This was episode 3 of the Dark Razor Chronicles streamcast. I'm your host and author, Mike Carmel. This episode dives deep into legacy, how it binds, breaks, and chooses. Cullen's descent is more than physical. It's a crossing into truths he may not want but can't ignore. And Arael, she's one of my oldest characters. Her sacrifice shapes everything that follows. All voices in this episode were performed using 11 Labs voice technology, crafted and directed by me. If you're enjoying the journey, don't forget to share, subscribe, or drop a message. I'd love to hear what you think. You can find everything at mikecarmel.ca. That's MikeCarmel.ca. And remember, if the blade calls, answer it. If your oath is tested, honor it.